Tonight, Loren Culp says he is still not conceding the race for governor, despite trailing Governor Jay Inslee by nearly 600,000 votes. KOMO's Patrick Quinn joins us live now. And Patrick, Culp says there are irregularities in the results. What is he talking about, and are they legitimate?
No, they are not legitimate. He continues to stress this point, but he has no proof. The state has no proof of any irregularities in the election system or in any of the results that have come through so far. But again, this is a narrative that he has continued to stress, and we are continuing to break it down. I was able to talk with him one-on-one today. Culp held a spirited rally on Election Day in Tenino on Tuesday. I was there. He was pushing a message that the results, there's something wrong with them. And driving back to his home of Republic, Washington, a day after on Wednesday, he called the results fishy. Today, he said he's heard allegations of people in the country illegally voting in Washington state. He also said he's heard that some people voted multiple times. There is no evidence showing either of these claims are true. The elections office says there is no proof. Culp has no proof.
We need free and fair elections. And if we see something that doesn't look like that's happening, then we're going to look into it. And when we have proof, then we'll bring that forward.
For communities of color, it's an announcement that hits home. Kamala Harris becomes the first Black woman and first South Asian woman to be elected vice president. In Seattle's Central District, Reverend Harriet Walden describes what this moment means to the Black community.
I think it's a great day. I think that we need to be happy about it. We've had all the greatest obstacles. We lived in Jim Crow. We've lived in all of this stuff. And yet and still we rise.
We are jubilant about this news.
Many in the South Asian American community are celebrating.
It's a big moment for the South Asian community because we have been feeling underrepresented for such a long time.
Hina Khatri of Bellevue says this is a powerful moment.
This is huge for not only the South Asian community, but also the Black community. It sends a message to Black and brown children that they belong here. And we deserve a voice at the table where decisions are being made.
For many people, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris shows how far women have come.
I've gotten really emotional about it because I think as a woman, it's incredible to be represented at that level.
So many people we talked to today say this moment isn't just about progress, it's also about hope.
We want to get going to the future. That's what we want to do.
Rich Stoltz is with One America, the largest immigrant and refugee advocacy organization in Washington state.
Kamala Harris is vice president. I think it's a historic moment that will inspire a whole new generation of people to run for office, to stand up and be counted. And I think it also shows all of us that it really matters that we vote.
In Seattle, Suzanne Fawn, KOMO News.
It says it's showtime. I guess it's time to start the show.
Inside an old brick building in Pioneer Square, you'll find Omari Salisbury broadcasting his morning show.
We were created to uplift Black media.
With the Seattle protests, including the tool he used to capture history.
Look at this drawing that they did. This is fire, right?
Remains the topic of the day.
They got the red phone up there and everything. Like what? The gas mask, all of that.
It is with that phone he began live streaming the protests, from the burning of Westlake to the height of tensions on Capitol Hill, known as the Pink Umbrella Incident.
I remember the bicycle officers got tapped out.
We have a definite change in posture.
By officers who had on gas masks, and I was like, man, this tear gas is coming.
So we see him grabbing the umbrella. There's the spray. There's the spray. There's the spray. It's on now.
I got hit in the eye on the mace, and then all you hear now is flashbangs. Boom, 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 boom. From that day, though, it went from being a regular protest to something very, very different.
That's when Omari also realized people were watching his feed.
I had like 114 followers on Twitter. And by June 1st, I had like 7,000 or 8,000. Now I've got like over 30,000.
Followers watching his live unfiltered streams, from the police abandoning the East Precinct to the formation and teardown of CHOP. Omari stayed the entire time.
For over a month, I don't think I ever left like a 6-block area.
But it's what the world didn't see when his live stream was turned off that maybe impacts Omari the most. On the morning of July 4th, 2 protesters, Summer Taylor and Diaz Love, were hit by a man who drove onto the closed interstate. Summer Taylor died, Omari watched it happen.
I can tell you on the freeway, I was just in shock. And that was the one time that I was so glad. Something told me that night not to live stream.
Or the time the Seattle PD asked him to help locate a potential rape victim at Cal Anderson Park.
We run over there to Cal Anderson Park, and we're looking for this woman. And we're looking for her, and we're looking for her. But we didn't find her. You know? I think it still sits with us all, you know, real heavy. And for me, I haven't unpacked all this yet. And now I'm back, voila, the magic of TV.
For Omari and Converge, the coverage continues on whether the protests will affect lasting change. But today, most of his live streams now come from the studio. The red phone may be close to retirement.
They call it the Red Revolution now, but this is supposed to be going into Mohai.
A tool used to document history, now a piece of it. In Seattle, Ryan Yamamoto, KOMO News.
Molly, Steve, we are right here where that shooting happened at 10th and East Pike. Those celebrations were going well into the night. We were down here until around 11:30 or so, and then that shooting happened at about 1 o'clock this morning. What we don't yet know is if that man or that shooter were tied in any way to that party, as this investigation is just getting started. On a blustery morning, crime scene tape is still tied up. Pieces of it scattered around Capitol Hill, where a 31-year-old man was shot and killed overnight at 10th and East Pike.
We'd gone to bed and suddenly we just hear all these sirens going.
Eric Beck woke up to all of the commotion.
And we saw a dozen police cars just rush to the corner of the street over there. I'm shocked. I am really shocked.
Just hours earlier, KOMO News had been covering the celebrations in the street as people gathered to throw a pop-up party of sorts for former Vice President Joe Biden being named president-elect. Beck is visiting Seattle, staying just a block away at a condo building.
There wasn't any yelling or screaming, or we couldn't really hear any people. It seemed like maybe something low-key happened.
Police say that when officers showed up, those crowds were still out, although we don't yet know if that man or the shooting is somehow tied to that gathering.
We just figured maybe somebody got in a drunken fight or OD'd or something like that. So, yeah, no, it's very, very shocking.
Well, Molly, it's because a lot of these people will be spending time indoors for holidays like Thanksgiving. After all, the majority of the cases right now are generally coming from that indoor activity, spreading the virus with poor air circulation. And the doctors right now are worried that people need to change their act before it's too late into the 2020 holiday season.
It's the most worrisome time of the year, according to Dr. Jeff Duchin.
We really need people to think about this holiday.
Because the holiday Duchin is talking about is just 3 weeks away, Thanksgiving. Right now, we're seeing COVID-19 cases on a rise we haven't seen since an earlier peak of the pandemic. Following shortly behind that is most likely going to be hospitalizations. According to Duchin, if we don't shape up and stay safe for November 26th, it could lead to even higher numbers of the virus.
We will undoubtedly have a very unmanageable situation coming out of that.
Because even in early November, we're seeing record highs of COVID cases, and that number will only grow without taking precautions seriously.
We're heading into a holiday season where people are more likely to do more of this, so we need to be very careful.
Dr. Ali Muqdad with UW's Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation agrees that the coming weeks will be crucial in limiting the spread of the virus. Right now, the infection rate, or the amount of people getting infected by someone with COVID-19, is above 1 in Western Washington, when doctors want that number to be below 1.
We need to limit our interaction with others, especially at this time, in order to contain this virus.
Because by wearing a mask and staying socially distant from others, we can try to make sure that the pandemic doesn't stretch into next holiday season.
By acting responsibly and doing everything we can this Thanksgiving, this isn't going to be happening again probably next Thanksgiving, I think.
Hi, everyone. I'm Preston Phillips from KOMO News. Thanks for checking out the KOMO YouTube channel. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for more news from the Seattle area and Western Washington. Oh, and don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our YouTube updates.